Hey, what's going on? This is the Theory of Creativity, the Theory of Souls podcast with Garrison and Sarah. Souls, we may or may not have them. That is what this discussion is about, probably. Souls are abstract concepts. There may or may not be an afterlife. I can no longer carry on what I'm doing. So,
My mouth really hurts still from the last podcast for MSG. So, I'm sucking on something sweet to get the heat from my mouth. As far as souls go, it's an intangible kind of idea. Do I have a soul? I don't know.
I know gingers definitely don't have souls, so that's one thing we don't have to worry about. And no comment.
I don't know what you mean. Like, you
ginger
mean souls don't have genders, or genders don't have souls?
Gingers.
Oh,
Yeah.
gingers. Yeah, no, they don't have souls.
Like, who came up with that? Like, why them?
Because there's very few gingers. They're all mean.
That's not true.
What ginger do you know that's not mean?
We don't have to bring that up, so we can just...
You don't have to name them. You just be like, yeah, I know like 3 or 4.
They're kind of rare. Like, they're like a shiny Pokemon. You just don't see them very often.
You mean like Raichu, the dick devil of all Pokemon?
No, like shinies. It's like one... You encounter one in every, like, 100,000 shiny... So they're like super rare, and yeah, souls, souls.
My shoes have souls.
Oh, they do. SOLEs, souls.
Soul. I mean, you're black though. You gotta have soul.
Yeah. There's a soul food.
Yeah.
Soul
Yeah.
food. Yeah. Oh, I wonder if gingers were to eat soul foods, would that give them a soul?
It might give their stomach souls.
This conversation is going nowhere.
Yeah. So, if you had a soul, what would it look like?
Now, I kind of used to do a little research on like auras,
Okay.
and your aura would have a different color depending on like your essence, your personality or something.
Sure. Or like mood, maybe.
Right, and I believe most people fall in the indigo spectrum, but they can be like orange and green and red and stuff.
What about black?
Yeah, I don't remember what color corresponds to the personality or anything like that. But do you think like souls can be taken? Like when people say, "I sold my soul to the devil," for like talent and stuff.
I think that's like a metaphorical idea. It's like selling out, If you're an artist, then you're basically selling your soul. You no longer belong to yourself. You belong to the person that now owns you.
Or there could be an actual soul stealer out there.
Oh, I definitely think that there's people that will try and eat your soul. Like, there's like vampires that live among us. Not like blood-sucking vampires, but like energy vampires that will try to make sure that you are no longer yourself. I've been around people like that. It's not fun.
Could you consider your soul just like your positivity, like your fervor for life? Cause say basically, following up on what you said about like energy vampires.
Yeah.
Metaphorically, they're taking your soul because they're like taking your will to live, like your positivity, and
Right.
they're like draining you emotionally. But so is your soul your emotion?
It's, I guess, like, if you were to explain it that way, I think that's a very good way of explaining it. Like, it's the inside of you that no one can see, but people feel. So, and people feel emotions, and we can pick up on those pretty easily if you're I guess a feeling person and you can feel other people's emotions. I I think that that would be a pretty good way because I feel like, there's people experience kismet where your soul just kind of finds somebody else that has a very similar soul to you, and it just it's like a bond that people have.
Kismet?
Yeah, that's kismet. It's like where you run into somebody randomly and people experience these like euphoric feelings of being around that person, but you've never met them before. That's what kismet is kind of similar to. Like, that's a really loose explanation of it, though.
Is that like a soulmate deal?
Yeah, yes and no. I don't know. Do you believe in soulmates?
No.
Because there's like a difference between a soulmate and a life partner. Somebody who's a soulmate
doesn't necessarily have to be like sexual. Is that what you're...
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right.
Like a life partner is like somebody who you spend your life with, right? And then like a soulmate is somebody that can fulfill your soul, maybe for a short period of time, maybe for a long period of time. That's a soulmate.
Cool. I've thought about this a few times, but for like people who were in accidents and suffered brain damage and they're in a coma or a vegetative state, and like say maybe they do reawaken and walk around and stuff, I guess, is that person still that person even if they no longer have memories of themselves, and like say that they die, would it be them because they no longer remember who they used to be?
Like a soul reset almost?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a tough question to answer because it's not like, your soul may have left your body for a short amount of time, but, the hope is that another soul isn't going to enter into your body. That would be scary. Like if say you died for a short amount of time and then your like soul leaves your body and then somebody else takes over your body. That'd be a good story. I think we should write it. No one take it.
Okay, so let's say that there's like a thing in your brain, like maybe your pineal gland or something, right?
Sure.
That's like the seed, right? And then your soul comes out of that seed. But if you suffer brain damage, it sort of
Like has trouble.
right, like it basically pushes your soul out of your body. So the brain dead are actually people without souls. I'm kind of scaring myself the more I talk about it.
I'm a little bit terrified. Like, I've never been in a room with somebody who has had major brain injuries, so I can't really say. They do come out very different, though. I think that's one big thing to realize, but it doesn't mean that their soul isn't there, because a lot of people who have, I guess, been in major accidents or had diseases where their major brain functions have kind of dissolved to the point where it's basically just their brain that's alive. They can't move, they can't speak, they can't, function normally, but they're still inside there. So I think that the soul is tied to the body, but then, I think the big question is like, what happens when your soul is no...
Well, we can try it out, see what happens.
Just experiment with it. All right. Garrison, go get a gun and...
Jeez. Why don't you get one? Because they're pretty easy to get these days. So
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd pass a background check if I needed to.
Yeah. So like souls and reincarnation, right?
Yeah.
Now I kind of like one of my theories is that there are the same number of beings now in the universe that there have always been, but because of energy, they're just like redistributed through different people throughout different times and stuff, right?
Okay, go on.
Say there's a being from another galaxy that dies and reincarnates as an ant here, right? Or vice versa. That soul, right? That soul that was their pre-self is now them, even though they don't they may not have the full memory. They may have like snippets of memories and stuff, basically like the Avatar and the past lives and stuff.
Yeah, okay. Because that's interesting because energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be redistributed, right? So if you maybe that's like the answer to time travel is like to enter somebody else's soul in a different time or different time, different space, different universe. Because like you're suggesting between
No,
universes, right? Like the omniverse.
you're talking about the Omniverse now? Oh, that's
Right.
crazy. Yes.
Because like if we switched souls, like this physical vessels, if we switched physical vessels when we died, then would it travel to different universes too? Like with that? And that's why we can never remember our past lives. It's in a different universe and our brain cannot even fathom what it's like to live in a different universe. Because it'd be so vastly different from here that if our brain was to understand it, then we'd probably lose our minds.
Yeah, probably. Going back to what you said about the only way that we could possibly time travel is to go into to a body of the past, right? That's actually what Xehanort's been doing in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. He's been going into his past selves. So yeah, that's just a little thing for the KH fans out there. But souls. I was gonna say something, but you kept talking, so I couldn't remember.
Oh, well, we were talking about auras before, so like, what would my aura be? What do I give off the aura of? And don't say blue because my hair's
Green, because your shirt's green.
okay. That's fine.
Man, what was it?
Do you think?
Right. Go ahead. Actually, no. I'm gonna go so I don't forget again. But okay, so we can only know that this day exists, right? Like we don't really know that yesterday happened. I mean, we have quote unquote memories, but we don't actually know that it happened.
Right. It's only the here and the now.
So could there be multiple us's, playing out different scenarios, like a part of our souls put into each one to live at a specific moment to I guess this sort of leads into simulation theory, like putting a part of our souls into a simulation to better understand humanity or something like that, right? Kind of like the episode of Black Mirror with the retirement home graveyard deal, right?
I mean, that was a beautiful episode.
San Junipero, for those of you curious, yeah, definitely watch Black Mirror. It's a good show.
I guess it just like, have you seen Interstellar?
No.
No, there's like this part of Interstellar where the main character, Matthew McConaughey, goes into space, into a black hole, and he experiences a sixth dimension, where it's like time, and it's only expressed in a certain specific way where it's like a library of moments in time, and he could return to those moments specifically and interact with them. And I thought it was a beautiful visual way to express how time interacts, because right now our time is linear.
Well, we perceive it that way.
We perceive it that way because it's right now, and there is a past, there's a present, and then there's a future. But we cannot access an alinear, like an abstract, the opposite of linear, way until we can figure out how to go back or forward in time.
Right, because like time is relative, right? Because if astronauts were to go to space, right, they would age slower than people on Earth, which I think Interstellar did that, right?
They did, yes.
And yeah, I kind of think about this time thing often, like how would time travel work, right? Like, would you type in a date or like a place? Because like, say you type in the date, right? Mm-hmm. The Earth is spinning. So would you go back or forward to that spot, or like
Well, I would
you
say
know?
yes and no, because if you went back on a certain date, the Earth might not be where you think it would be, so you would just end up floating around in space.
Oh, that's right. Oh
Yeah.
man.
So yeah, so
Ugh.
there's a lot of physics that
Yeah.
goes into it, because everything would have to be calculated to the point, otherwise you would end up just in a rock somewhere, or I mean, maybe that's how the dinosaurs got fossilized. No, I'm just kidding. Ignore that I said that, because that was the stupidest thing I think I've said all day. But I mean, you could basically just like end up, being stuck in somewhere else.
Yeah. And this has nothing to do with souls.
It does
I think
not.
we should probably get back to that. I feel like there's something else I want to bring up, but
You know what one of my favorite things is, though? Is like when inanimate objects, like I like when I give inanimate objects souls, like just by like giving them a voice or a face.
oh, that's interesting. So, like, say, like, could you bestow a soul into something if you like have a strong enough will, or if you choose it? So,
Like a Horcrux.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Huh.
Oh, that was in one of my other questions, is like, do animals have souls? I feel like this is a big debate in the religion, is whether or not animals go to heaven.
Well, I guess we could say like what would be the point of a soul, like what's its function? Because I guess depending on who you talk to, animals don't have souls, and therefore they can't go to an afterlife. But is there an afterlife, and which one is the real one?
Well, if we don't have souls, or like, is there supposed to be a function of a soul? Is it so that we can carry on to another realm of understanding? Is that the function of a soul?
Well, you mentioned this earlier about like the different like spectrums. Like we're on the fourth dimension, I think,
Yeah.
and there's like 11, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe we were meant to transcend. Like, okay, all right, this is what. Okay, now I got it. So what if we're like gods in training, right? Like we're meant to live this life to gain knowledge, so we can transcend to the next level of godhood.
So like, oh, that's a trippy thought, dude. Okay, because well, then that would mean that there would be infinite dimensions. Because if you were a god of your own dimension, eventually we would have infinite dimensions.
Infinity is, oh man, that's, I can't even wrap my mind around that. That's, I mean, anything that can happen is happening.
Yes.
Or will happen. That's,
So I think that's super dope, because I would love to be a god of my own dimension. No one would want to visit, but the opportunity is there if you guys want to come and visit my
okay,
dimension.
are there cookies there?
There are cookies, but they are oatmeal cookies.
Why wouldn't anyone want to visit?
Because they'd probably shit themselves. Like, in a good way. Like, it would be a very fulfilling poop, but it would be on demand.
Wait, so they would want to shit themselves?
No, they would. I mean, maybe, it would be a very fulfilling poop, but it would be like as soon as they get in, whatever they're wearing, no matter what they're doing, it would just be.
They can't hold it in
No.
a little bit?
No.
Why?
It's part of the process.
All right. Well, going back to the God's theory, what if this is just, a plaything of some god that was once a human, right? That's interesting.
I think we've stumbled onto some serious, like, philosophical stuff that we just never even dreamt to imagine. And I kind of want to write about it a little bit.
Yeah, the possibilities are literally endless. Go on and on.
Seriously endless.
I think that's about all I have for souls. We still don't know if we have them or not. So this podcast was pretty much useless, probably.
Well, our next podcast, however, is about the future.
Yeah, what's after that? Does it say learning?
It does say learning. Next
Oh, wow, we only have a couple left. That's right.
Yeah. So, okay, next week is the theory of future. We should probably have a theory of past, but we're not going to do that one.
The theory of what?
The past.
Oh,
But we're not going to do that.
not soon, not recently, not in the near future.
No. Maybe in a past life.
What? Why do you want to get rid of the theory of podcasts
I'm
so
not
badly?
kidding. I'm okay. Wait, no. I'm not getting rid of it. Take a break. Make sure that we can get other things done that we've been meaning to get done. Focus. Laser focus.
Well, at least we're gonna be ending on a pretty flat note, because our final the theory of podcast for the foreseeable future will be flat Earth.
If anybody knows a flat earther, or you are a flat earther, please feel free to reach out to us because we would love to hear from you.
Yeah, definitely. Email us. I think we'll have the information in the description, so everything will be there. You can just check that out in your free time.
Even if you can't meet with us physically, we'll still find a way to make it work so that we can have you on our podcast anywhere in the world. Appreciate it.